does a father show his love? I would like you to think about that for a moment, about your father. You see, my little son Caleb was born last summer, and I've been pondering about his inevitable question. Daddy, how much do you love me? I can proudly say that I do a lot for my son, and my wife would agree, except she always rolls her eyes. To equate love with parental duties, like feeding and bathing, appreciating the 1.2 million different shades of green in a soiled diaper, sadly misses the point of a love-filled relationship between a father and a son. Mr. Contest Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, fathers in the house, where are you? Raise your hand if you're a father. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Great. I think I can charter a club today. Fathers, you are the mentors, leaders, and heroes. Even if you only get a necktie for Father's Day, I salute you. The answer to my son's question, Daddy, how much do you love me, will not only affect little Caleb, but for generations to come. And as I gaze into my son's eyes, I wonder what it would take to be the perfect, loving father. My son will be raised differently. We've all made mistakes in life. Well, I'm sure Caleb will too. I made a lifelong vow that I will always stand by his side. I will accept him just the way he is. My father, on the other hand, is a blood, sweat, and tears, hard-nosed, unforgiving type of man. The kind of man who would say that his love is perfectly correlated with the scores on my report card. I'm alive today because I never scored an F. Thanks, Dad. I had to take every single extracurricular activity possible. From being a violinist in a youth orchestra to being a brownie girl guy. I felt so special. And I often played the role of a human piñata, like success could be beaten out of me. Ladies and gentlemen, why? Why was my success so important to my father? Well, his coded response would hint that the truth was too painful to express. Son, one day you'll understand. My son will be raised differently. 40 years ago, my father made a vow that history would not repeat itself. We said goodbye to Hong Kong in hopes of a better life in Canada. Sadly, my father did hard labor in freezing temperatures that even polar bears would call in sick. He would secretly weep, kneeling before his gods, delivering his message of bitterness and angst. I don't deserve this! But the employer gods thought otherwise, because my father was never formally educated. The Japanese occupation during the Second World War made it impossible for children to go to school in China. And my father grew up in the most unimaginable conditions, filled with death, hunger, and despair. That revelation hit the very core of my soul. My father's blood, sweat, and tears was all for me. Son, I never had a chance, but you do. My sons will live as the imperialist Japanese march towards my grandpa's home in Hong Kong, going door to door and forcing families out of their homes, killing those who oppose their will. Grandpa vowed that he would keep his children safe. And when the enemy eventually reached their doorstep, Grandpa courageously threw his body at them, bullets piercing his flesh. My father and his siblings ran in all directions, just clinging on to Grandpa's promise that they would live. My father, not even in grade school, found himself standing all alone in the muddy streets of Hong Kong, homeless, penniless, and hungry. But he would live on to honor Grandpa's ultimate act of a fatherly love, dying for his sons, for my father. And now I know how to answer my son's question. Daddy, how much do you love me? Son, Caleb, I love you more than words can say. I will always stand by your side, and I will work hard to give you only the best. But most of all, I will give you my life. Because you are my son. And that is what loving fathers do. Mr. Contest Chair.